Hello. It's Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Are you boring, boring, boring? Hopefully not. That is what we are going to be talking about today. Do you ever wonder if you are talking to somebody and you're like, I wonder if they think I'm boring? Or maybe it's vice versa. You're talking to somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, they're really boring. Like I'm not picking up what they're putting down at all. Hey, M Love, nice to see you. Kind of, I can't see you, but there's a weird shadow. I'm gonna see if I can move around. It's not getting better, but that's okay. You don't really need to see me. You just need to hear my voice. Hey, Gary, nice to see ya on this live. So we're talking about how not to be boring. So I'm going to get into it so that I'm not boring, because one of the things, I'm going back to a post that I did earlier this week about how not to be boring, how to not be boring. I don't know, me and English, we're not best of friends. So fail-proof anti-boring secrets, that is what we're going to be talking about today. Let's get right into it. I have a terrible memory, so I'm actually using my visuals to see because I need to refer to it. Have fun in your personal life. We talked about fun last Sunday. I said fun about 16 times, probably even more, I think, actually, when I was looking back at it. But we talked about how to have fun in your personal life and maybe even in your professional life. It's a willingness to allow fun to happen and just enjoy the present moment, which takes a lot of time. You have to create that awareness. So having fun in your personal life, that will naturally allow you to open up to more fun activities. So then you can bring that to the stage, bring it to the camera, bring it to your Zoom calls, because people, like I said, they can really pick up if you are not having fun. They're like, oh, it's this kind of a presentation. As I said before, even if it is a serious presentation, you know, you can still have a little bit of fun with it or have it engaging for some people. So yeah, you can bring this vibe to the stage and the camera. I think we often feel that we need to be serious a lot of the time. I don't know what happened. We want to bring back that childlike excitement in life. And so again, it just takes practice, because somewhere along the line, society was like, nope, can't have fun. Got to be serious. Nobody will take you seriously. Here I am being taken seriously. I'm assuming anyways. What else can I say? Ooh, identify a unique trait about yourself and use it in everything that you do. I've been doing this a lot over the past, maybe, I would say 2.5 years. People get really confused if you're overly nice to them, or I don't know, if you're just yourself. Some people are just kind of like, oh. So, quick story. I went to the gym on Saturday, and there's this girl who typically works on Saturdays, but I noticed that she'd been in more often, and so I just said to her, I was like, oh, good morning. She's not the most ebullient at the front desk, whatever, I don't judge. So I said to her, I was like, oh, they don't give you a day off? And she was like, I'm sorry. I was like, they don't give you a day off? In other words, you're here a lot more than normal. And she was just like, I don't want a day off. And I was like, okay. So in other words, she's not picking up what I'm putting down. She's in the vibe of I got to take my day seriously, and that's fine. I'm not judging her. It's just now I know that she might be a tricky one to play around with. You're always going to have audience members that are not going to pick up what you're putting down. They're not going to be okay with having fun. They still are in the mindset of, nope, everything has to be box. We all know that there is no box, right? We learned that from Tim Grover. So it's really important to keep that uniqueness of what you bring, figure out what that is, and bring it every day. And then there's other people, like I brought it today in a dance class that I went to at the gym. And it was great because people were going back and forth, and it's like a tennis match, and you throw something out and then they throw something back to you, and it becomes like a game. Then what happens, here's the fun thing, is that you start to feel comfortable in interacting with people in your own unique way, which is a huge win, because then you go in front of the camera like we're doing right now, or we go onto the stage and we're natural with it. We're not going to feel odd about connecting with others. It just happens naturally. So yay, all the wins. Next one, number 4, learn how to make appropriate jokes. So here's the thing. I often say, make some jokes, have some laughter, because with laughter that that creates a bond between you and either another person or a group of people. So it's super important to laugh with them. Again, though, has to be done appropriately. So if you look at the post that I posted today about somebody saying like, oh yeah, I think you should be the Joker. I have a perfect role for you. And he's just like, great, so I have a personality of a psychopath. And that's funny because, again, he's laughing at himself, he's not putting himself down, and it's appropriate. Number 5, know your audience and relate to them. Again, super important. I would not have this sort of a conversation with a grade 4. I used to be a full-time teacher, and I taught grade 4 for the longest time. And so there were certain things or vocabulary, visuals, analogies, metaphors, things that I wouldn't typically use for, 9 and 10-year-olds that I would for adults. Maybe I will. I don't know. Because maybe adults and children, one and the same. But in other words, make sure that you know your audience before going in, and then you can really use that to connect with them. And if you know certain people are in the audience or on camera, on your Zoom calls, whatever it is, if you know who those people are and things that they've done in their life, you can always call them out and just say, hey, is there somebody on here that's done such and such? Or in the audience, is there somebody out there that's done such and such? Hey, that's a cool idea. I got something else for you. What about this? And that really personalizes your message to the audience, which they will then appreciate, and they will remember you for years to come. Number 6, be concise. Get to the point. And this is what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to get to the point so that way you can go live your lives. But it's important for you to get this information. So it's really important to really get the idea of your message out there quickly, entertain them a little bit, and then get out. Okay? Because there's nothing worse than just, and I do this a lot though. Like I have stories and more stories and more stories. And then I have to realize that, hey, you know what? Not everybody's got all that time. So figure out how to be concise. Again, I have things that I do in my coaching where I teach speakers how to condense their material, and I've got a formula for that one, which is great. And you want to use your imagination. This one's similar to the unique trait that we all have. Your imagination is your unique trait. I've been working with Roxy Talks and for about a little over a year now, and she's really helped me understand the intangibles, which is how to become your ideal self. When I first walked into that mindset, I was like, I'm sorry, what? What's an ideal self? Like, I don't understand. And she said, think about the version of you that you want to become. Well, here's the issue. I couldn't do that. I couldn't visualize in my head what that person looked like, sound like, felt like. It was really challenging for me. But over time, I've learned how to do that, which again is also a practice and an awareness of using your imagination of who you really can become. So that is the biggest tool in your tool belt that I can provide you with or help you work with, using that imagination. Think about Walt Disney. It always comes to my mind, and his Imagineers. There's things that didn't exist in the world, and they created it out of nothing. And that's the cool thing about creators. It's like, where did this come from? It was an idea up here, and now it's tangible, and it's come out that people can celebrate that as well. So that's really cool. And we all have this ability to imagine something, create something that doesn't exist, and then use that, and nobody else has that except you. So that is probably the most important tool. And a couple of the things just to sprinkle on to all of this is, again, we talked about having fun in your personal life. I can't stress that one enough. Each day, practice how to have fun. Practice allowing fun to happen, which means having a willingness, which is huge because a lot of us kind of just go through, our days and we're not really cognizant of what's happening. So it's really important to enjoy the moment and look at things that we can laugh at, look at things that we can appreciate, and really enjoy like with a childlike sort of mindset. So that's important. And then again, you can take that to your professional life, and that's really important too. Again, appropriately. We don't want to be making jokes throughout the entire meeting or presentation or whatever it is, but when there's an opportunity, you'll be more likely to create an awareness around the appropriate opportunity to make that joke, to connect with your audience, connect with the board members, wherever you're at. As I said before, laughter is a way to bond. You really want to bond with your audience because, like I said, once you have that bonding moment, they're going to remember you and they're going to remember that chat that you had with them and the laughs that you had with them as well, because it comes more enjoyable for them and for you too. And then we talked about imagination, and here's the most important thing about your imagination is that we talked about how to tap into that, but it's really important as well to use it. It's like a muscle, right? The more you use it, the more you're going to be able to tap into that, even when you're not aware that you're tapping into it. So it's really important, again, to create that awareness of using our imagination as much as possible. So your task for this week is to, last week was about having fun. So hopefully you all did that. Now this fun can come into the imagination. So again, use that fun into your imagination, and then you can kind of create this world that doesn't exist, or things in your world that don't exist, and then apply that to everything in your life, your professional, your personal, whatever it is. And then you'll start to notice that life becomes a little bit different. You perceive it just a little bit differently, and it becomes a little bit more, I don't know, expanded. That's the best way that I can think of it. I love it when life feels not constricted, but expanded. I remember one time, last story, I'm trying to keep it concise. This is probably the biggest issue for me. I was working with Tim Grover, and in the group, he had said, what is freedom look like to you? What is freedom for you? And I remember my response was, I can identify when I have freedom and when I don't have freedom. And this is the biggest thing, I think, my biggest takeaway from that. There have been many, but one of the ones that stuck out was the idea of having an imagination, because that gets expansive and it gets more free. You have more of a freeing way of living because it's, you know, it's your own life. You're living this own life. You're creating this own life. And so it's more than just the 3D that surrounds you. So that's my biggest takeaway. I hope this resonates with someone. I know talking about it, it just re-energizes me. So I hope it's doing the same for you. Any questions or comments, please leave in the comment section below. Send me a DM if you're shy about it, and I'd be happy to help you. So go on, live your life in your imaginary? Is that, again, me and words, we don't mix. That's why I'm not a teacher anymore. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, live in that life, live in the fun, and enjoy it. All right, I'll see you next Sunday. Bye.